Hello, hello, hello. Giving y'all some time to get in here on this marvelous Sunday. This marvelous, marvelous Sunday. What y'all got going on today? Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Sorry about all that movement. Figured I would adjust all this. There we go. Hello, hello, hello. All right. So I know a lot of you all catch the replay, so I'm just gonna hop right into it, okay? So it is October. As I promised, I would be back in October, so I am here. And this month is National Family Sexuality Education Month. I call it Let's Talk Month. So we have a Let's Talk Month, but the formal name is National Family Sexuality Education Month. So I know I focus in on moms and empowering you to embrace your sexuality and everything, but it's important for kids to be able to have that talk, okay? It's important for you as a mom to have that talk, okay? So I also know that when I did the poll that many of you were interested in talking to your kids about sex. So I figured what better time to do that than this month for Let's Talk Month. I'm going to call it Let's Talk Month, y'all. All right. So my goal is to make sure that I equip you with the key topics that you're going to have to cover, the key things that you can include and incorporate with your child now at any age, all the way up until the teenage years, even into adulthood, because as a parent, they're going to come back to you with things. If they feel comfortable, they're going to come to you with different things that's on their mind, different questions. They may ask you about your personal experiences, but whatever you're comfortable with, right? But I know the sex talk is uncomfortable, right? It's definitely uncomfortable, but it's something that we have to do. I know some parents may feel like if I talk to my kid about sex, then they're going to go out there and do it. That is not the case. Actuality is that when kids are educated, they're no longer curious, right? So they don't do things out of curiosity. They can't be necessarily peer pressured to do things because they're unaware, because you already educated them. Okay, so actuality, if you teach a child about sex education and practicing safe sex and things like that, they're more likely to do it. Interesting, right? It reduces teen pregnancy rates and all of that. So it's facts. Okay. I spent 7 years working in sexual health. I was a health educator for 7 years, where I educated adults, teens, college students about safe sex practices. We talked about birth control. We talked about STDs. We talked about so much. But what I learned throughout that time is how uninformed people are. Okay. And when I say people, I do mean of all age ranges. They are uninformed. So it's important to make sure that you have that conversation. It's important to educate yourself. It's important that you watch this series for the month so that you can learn if you don't know the things that I'm about to teach you all. Okay. And so I learned throughout that time was that even college students, okay, we tell, okay, we hand out condoms and things like that. But college students, when I was working with them, they didn't even know how to put on a condom right, some of them, okay, putting them on inside out, things like that. So you're going to have those that are unaware, okay? You have the big talk, like, I know what I'm doing, this, that, and the third, and they don't. Then you have the younger ones that's making up STDs, and they're STIs, I should say, and they're saying that it's some STI out there that's causing this and causing that, and it doesn't exist, okay? And that stuff gets into our children's heads, okay? And they believe it, and then they start doing crazy things because they believe this and they believe that, and it's not the case. The same difference as other things that I'm going to get into, so I don't want to jump ahead too much, right? So the same difference is just learning just false information. So you are your child's first teacher. It's your job to make sure that you educate them so that they can learn from you. They can have the facts, okay? Always, if that is something you're completely not comfortable with, it's opportunities out there to make sure that your child receives the information that they need. You can reach out to me. If I'm not the one that's doing it, I also know of other resources. Okay, so that is something that I'll be more than happy to help you with. Just let me know. Okay, I cannot help you if I don't know that you need help. Okay, but it's definitely resources. It's definitely me that can do this. Okay, so make sure that you tune in. Okay, so first off, you want to start, you want to start talking to your child as early as possible. All right. And when I say early, you just like talking to my child about sex. Yes, your child, little child. Start at 2. Okay. Yes, 2. At this age, you're going to teach different things. So at each age level, you're teaching different things. Okay, so basically throughout this month, I will focus in on certain age levels. Okay, and we'll go into it and dig a little bit into it. And then if you have questions, you can definitely comment them on these videos, and I'll make sure that I answer them. Okay, if we catch this video, catch the question during a replay, I will answer the question the next time. Right, but each week we're going to dig into an age range. All right, so right now we're going to start at 2. At 2, you want to make sure that you're teaching your child the right terms for their genitals, okay? You don't want to call it a hot dog, your patty cake, or none of that, okay? You want to make sure that you're using terms at penis and vagina, all right? When your little boy has to go to the bathroom, when he grabs his penis, then you say penis. Don't call it a thing, a thingy, a hot dog, none of that. A Peter Whacker, none of that. You call it exactly what it is, okay? Same thing with girls, vagina. Technical term, okay, it's vulva, but vagina. That's going to be universal, right? But when you're referring to that, you want to make sure that you're calling it what it is. This helps kids recognize that this is what they have. And as they get older, they may start realizing that, well, boys have something different or girls have something different, right? The opposite sex has something different than what I have, right? But they do know that they have a vagina, all right? So that also helps them be comfortable with saying that word. Because if something was to happen or anything, their vagina is bothering them or anything like that, they can come to you and they can let you know. Okay, and it causes no confusion when you call it things like a hot cake or a pancake or whatever type of whatever. Then when they go and they actually eating a hot cake or a pancake or their whatever their tatas and all, like, call them breasts, right? But when they're using those terms, those other playful terms, it may not necessarily be as clear, especially if they're saying something to someone else. Okay. So you want to teach them that so they can be comfortable with that, okay? Another thing is that we are all born sexual beings. All of us are born sexual beings. So when we're born as sexual beings, we like to do what feels good, right? So that's where kids at a young age, they're not necessarily masturbating, but they're playing with themselves, right? They're touching their vagina, they're touching their penis, things like that. And they're doing it because it feels good. It's not nothing sexual about it. It just feels good. So same difference as a kid walk around and suck their thumb. It's comfortable. It's soothing, right? It makes them feel good, right? So the same difference is if they're playing with themselves. It feels good. You don't ever want to shame them for doing what feels good to them, okay? You don't ever want to do that. What you want to do is teach them about privacy, okay? So this is your penis, this is your vagina. I understand that you're doing what feels good, but you should do this in your own privacy, in your bedroom or in the bathroom. You don't want to do this while you're sitting up under people and things like that. And also encourage them to wash their hands, okay? But you can just tell them that so that they don't feel like you're shaming them, because that shame can grow with them. And then as they get older, they become more and more uncomfortable with their bodies, okay? When they go to wash or whatever, like, they're shamed by the fact that they're touching it. Now it becomes this, like, I can't believe I'm doing this moment. But at the same point of time, now they're ashamed of it and they become more, self-conscious. So you don't want to shame them. You want to be aware of that. Another thing is, because we're talking about curiosity and shame and everything else, kids are curious, right? So you may catch them playing doctor or anything. You never know with kids. You just don't know. Catch them naked. Don't just assume the worst. Just teach them that this is inappropriate behavior. This is not what we want to do. We don't practice this. Doctors are professionals, and this is what they do. Okay, you don't want to encourage them to get naked, but encourage them to pretend, right? They can still use the stethoscope and all the other stuff, but they don't have to completely get naked, because that's not what we always have to do at a doctor's office, right? So we don't want to practice that. Okay, so you just teach them in different ways, whatever works for you, but you don't want to make them feel like they've done something completely bad, because they may not understand that, but just teach them that it's inappropriate. Let's try something more appropriate. Let's keep our clothes on and just listen to the heart. Check your ears, things like that. Also, you want to make sure that they're aware of good touch, bad touch. Now, all of this that I'm covering is for ages 2 to 5. Okay, so good touch, bad touch. You know, we talked about the genitals, vagina, penis, but you want to make sure that they know that this is their private areas. Okay, their chest, breast, all of that. This is their private areas. This is their genitals. Okay, it's one thing if they touch them, but they shouldn't allow anyone else to touch them unless it's you, because you're trying to check them because they said something is hurting or something is wrong, right? Or you give the doctor permission to do so. But you shouldn't let anybody touch your genitals, okay? If it makes you feel uncomfortable, make sure that you come and you talk to mommy or daddy or whoever, right? Whoever is the guardian at that time. Make sure that if you're uncomfortable, you say so, all right? If it doesn't feel right, you make sure that you tell a person to stop. You're not comfortable with that, okay? So that's what you want to teach your kids, okay? Because they need to know there's a difference between good touch and bad touch. Good touch is, you have something wrong, I'm going to check it, and that's that. We're going to go to the doctor. The doctor is going to check it, and that's that. All right? But not because the neighbor down the street said they want to look at it. None of that. Your friends said they want to look at it. None of that. Okay? So you teach them good touch, bad touch. Okay? So all of those things are different things that's going to help you with your 2 to 5 year old. It's just making sure that you're starting to give them a little bit of education. You're introducing them to sexuality, introducing them to the fact that they're finding themselves and realizing who they are. You know, of course, over time, they're going to realize that, you know, the opposite sex has something different than mine. I had a child that witnessed a little boy, my little girl, witnessed a little boy standing up peeing. And for a week, we were cleaning pee off the floor because she felt like she needed to stand up and pee. That was the age of recognizing that she realized that it was something different. They did something different. So we had to have that talk. You're a girl and there's a boy. They stand up, you sit down. Okay, they have something different than you. Okay, what do they have? They have a penis, baby. You have a vagina. With their penis, they stand up and pee, and with your vagina, you sit down and pee. Okay, so we don't have to do this all the time. Okay, and it got through, but they just need that. They also may ask you about anything. You just want to make sure that you open the area for them to ask you questions, and you don't make them feel crazy for asking the questions or as if they should be embarrassed about asking the questions, because this is the best relationship you're going to have with them at this age, right? And once you open that up, you can continue to grow that. Okay, so you want to make sure that you leave the conversation open for questions, letting them know that if you have questions, come and ask me. I'll give you the answer to those questions. Okay, so you'll do that. And if they ask you something that seems like, okay, that's a little much, I don't know how to answer that. The great example is, where do babies come from? They can ask this around 5, especially if they're younger. They may, and you're pregnant or something, they may ask that earlier than 5 or 4 or whatever. You give them an age appropriate answer. You don't have to go, we have sex and this, that, and the third. You don't have to do all of that. But what you can do is educate them on mommy and daddy have a special hug or whatever, however you want to word it. and I have eggs, and daddy have seeds, basically, and he plants his seeds in the egg, and I grow a baby, right? But it's a way of them being able to visualize it, but just enough information that it's okay, right? So baby grows and mommy has a baby. You don't want to incorporate animals in this because then it kind of confuses them and it kind of makes it so it's not human-like, right? So we want to keep it all natural. This is mommy, daddy, humans, not animals. The stork did not bring the baby, okay? Because then they can be educated wrong and that may stick with them, and then whatever you tell them from that point forward, you know, they don't know whether to believe you, right? So you want to give them as much of the truth as possible, but make sure it's age appropriate. All right, so that's what I have for today. Again, make sure that if you have questions, you put them in the comments. Y'all, I don't know if anybody has commented. Right now, I don't have any comments, and I don't know if anybody is on because my Facebook Live always messes up. So, either way you look at it, if you're watching this, make sure that you have put replay, #replay in the comments. And I look forward to continue to work with you all. Remember that it's important to educate your children on sexuality because you want them to grow up and be confident and know. You don't want them to be easily pressured. So I will see y'all next week, and we're going to cover the next age group. Okay? All right. Y'all have a great, wonderful, wonderful Sunday, and I will see you all next Sunday. Bye.